it's the two edges of the sword that come with wanting to protect something.
It seems like it's too good to be true, David. You know, my CPA would have heard about this, right? I mean, why hasn't someone else told me about it? Why isn't everyone doing it? You know, and so I don't know if you've heard that yet. I hear it about every day, but what would be your response to that?
And it's usually got an element of sort of not distrust or sort of, oh, hold on now, wait a minute now, you know. And so it's the two edges of the sword that come with wanting to protect something. In order to protect something, anything, a great business idea, intellectual property with a patent, a transaction type, which in this case has certain legal and other protections, so that no one importantly can take the really good idea and go basically duplicate it. That's important. But more importantly, take the good idea and mess it up. So in a strange way, when you are protecting anything, right, it also places some limitations on its broad use. Not everybody can see it or access it. It's not perfectly transparent or out floating around on the internet. We expect everything to be Googleable, right? Well, this isn't Googleable, at least not in terms of the detail, because there's no way to do that and make it that broadly available without protecting it to make sure it stays. It's done right. Look, we have this conversation about the asset portfolio, where the nature of it is that the investments must perform within a range. And the range is fairly generous and there's some flexibility. But the point is, all of the parts, the legal structure, the tax elements, deferment elements, and the investment elements, they all have to work together in harmony, and they all have to perform. If any one of them breaks, then we have a problem, and it's my reputation, and it's your reputation, it's Bob Binkley's reputation, and these are serious folks. I think of myself as a fairly serious person. So my entire life developing my credibility and my reputation, and I'm not about to throw it away. So in a strange way, the activity of protecting that sanctity results in the fact that it isn't as widely known as you otherwise think it might be. That's actually a good thing.
Right, it is actually a good thing, right? And it's why it's been 25 years now plus, thousands of closes, billions under management, over a dozen no change successful IRS audits, and because it's just an installment sale, right? Now we're created with a third party unrelated trustee, which is what the services we provide here at Capital Gains Tax Solutions. But it takes a team of professionals to execute this in a way that that maintains the law of IRC 453. And that is that's important to mention. By the way, we also think and believe and would hope to think that the just the same fact that you can diversify the wealth, the IRS also says that could think and would believe that you're going to diversify the taxes being paid, right? Because this is truly deferral. This isn't avoidance, right? What we're saying is they're actually locking in the gain, versus the 1031 exchange where it's, right as it stands right now, it's kind of, you can drop into your swap or swap into your drop. And in 2008, when things were not diversified, and if you're trading one single asset for another single asset, taking on a bunch of debt, guess what? Things can stop, and all of a sudden that gain gets wiped out. And guess who else who doesn't get the tax on that? The IRS. Whereas in the deferred sales trust, we're taking that gain and we're kind of locking it in and we're preserving it, right? And we're going to spread it across potentially 100 different investments in 100 different companies, right? From different countries, different areas, different, it can be real estate, it can be stocks, right? It could be hard money lending. It can be a number of things. And therefore it increases the chances of when you receive payment, you'll pay tax. Also, by the way, it gets new property taxes, right? Because the property sells. The agent gets the listing. He has to pay tax on the commission. So it's actually a win-win-win. All right, everybody. I want to welcome you to another episode, another Mastermind, because we do turn these into podcasts of Capital Gains Tax Solutions. This is all about deferred sales trust, all cryptocurrency, real estate, and investing. Basically, how to escape either for yourself or for your clients, capital gains tax jail. And we're going to talk about that video and dive into some things here in a minute. And I'm excited for my co-host, Jake Miller, financial advisor, MBA, trains CPAs extraordinaire. Jake, how you doing today?
Doing well, doing very well. Thank you very much, Brett.
The mini travels for Jake. We were in Dallas, Texas last week. in fact, met for the first time in person. It was such a pleasure to meet you, Jake, in person. I got to see his real hair. In fact, everyone, I'm here to report a firsthand testimony that the hair is real, and it is as beautiful as it is on camera as it is in person. Jake, how did you enjoy Dallas? What were your thoughts on that?
Dallas was a wonderful place. A lot of great people, a lot of like-minded folks, people that are making more efficient their income, and of course, obviously paying a lot of attention to the taxes. If they don't pay any attention to the taxes, sometimes it doesn't matter your rate of return if you're going to give half of everything to the government anyway. So that's why we talk about the DST and work with a lot of professionals to make it happen.
Absolutely. And for those who are wondering what that event was, it was EXP's event with EXP Commercial, EXP Residential, as well as EXP Business Broker and M&A Advisors. They're taking over a lot of things like Amazon has done. And Tony Robbins was the keynote Thursday speaker. I've never been Tony Robbins in face-to-face before. Saw Tony, almost gave him a high five. Like I held my hand out there, and he gave the person before me and the person after me. I was like, oh, dang, I was that close, millimeters from touching Tony's hand. But anyways, it was really cool. We got really inspired and learned a lot, and then had a chance to discuss the deferred sales trust with people who are selling highly appreciated public stock, private stock, cryptocurrency, real estate, and just trying to empower people. So it was great to have Jake alongside to educate and encourage folks. As well as Pierce York, who's on the line here as well. Pierce, how you doing today, sir? How was your Dallas experience? He's going to unmute himself and tell you all about Dallas here in a second.
Hey guys, yeah, things are good. Dallas was super awesome, and I'm just super excited to be back and implement some of that stuff and get on the grind and help some people defer some taxes, baby. Let's do it.
Absolutely. Beautiful thing. So we're going to dive right into the vision to remind me why we're here.
Hey, sorry about that.
Get into the deal close.
Gotta do my intro.
You're good. You're good.
Hey, you want to mute yourself, Pierce?
Bro, I can get.
There we go. Thank you, sir. And then we're going to do the deal close story of the week, as well as the under contract deal of the week. We're going to add now a little bit to that to kind of give you guys a flavor of like some of the challenges we have going on some current deals. So Jake and I are going to talk about a couple of those, maybe just one, maybe two, if we have time. We're going to make this really short and pithy. We're going to be out of here by 10:30, so we have 25 minutes to do this, and then also update on the crypto deals that we're working on as well. And so here we go. So remember, the vision of this mastermind is to make all things simple and demystify the deferred sales trust, how to trade cryptocurrency, how to trade real estate, how to trade highly appreciated public stocks, and basically be able to diversify and move the equity or the wealth into different vehicles to get cash flow. And it means different things for different people. For some people, it could mean retiring from that big business. For some people, it could mean selling high crypto at a price and get into cash flow producing assets that are a little more conservative in nature. For some people, it could mean selling that real estate deal and going all into stocks, bonds, and mutual funds and never having to deal with toilets, trash, or liability ever again. And we want to bring this an opportunity for people to ask questions and really absorb what the deferred sales trust is and what it's not. And then see if it's a great fit for you or your clients. Okay, so that's the vision. Jake, you want to add anything else to that vision?
You know, at the end of the day, we just try to make things easy and simple for people. We take the complexity of taxes, complexity of investments, and we try to work with other professionals in a very high level, very professional, collaborative way. We don't need to be arguing or stepping on toes or trying to prove that one method is better than another method. Let's look at everything. Let's put it all out there, and let's make sure that all the clients' advisors are all on the same page. And as you pointed out in the video that you played before, Brett, it can be a win-win-win-win for everyone. Nobody needs to lose out. Here at the end of the day, there's a solution that does and can, based on people's specific situations, work for everybody. And when I say work for everybody, I mean work for the client, work for the advisors, no conflicts of interest, just get everybody together and make it happen.
Beautiful. And by the way, while we're on that topic of David Young's video, and for those who know who David Young is, he worked with Bill Gross at PIMCO, and they built it up to a very high number, 80 billion to 1.2 trillion, very respected industry. If you don't know who Bill Gross is, he's kind of like a Warren Buffett figure of the financial advising world, very, very well known and respected. And then David has become a part of the DST family, as well as a resource, and he did due diligence on this thing, And the question we asked in the video was basically like, seems like everyone would know about it, right? And he talked about the two-edged sword, Jake. So what did you take away from that two-edged sword of being protected as well as being known?
It's an interesting thing. It's a two-edged sword. The more that everybody in the world knows it, the more it's going to be abused, right? The more people are going to do it their own way, their own flavor of mixing things up. And the more it gets mixed up, when the IRS and other regulatory authorities are looking at it, the more they have to say, well, instead of looking at it through a lens this big, now I have to look at it through a lens the way that everybody does things and all the different variations. And it's not the same. It's a two-edged sword. Some people are going to get it disallowed. Right now, currently, the DST has never been disallowed. It's a wonderful thing, 100% track record. People are doing really big deals, really small deals, and it's going through. And it's making magic for people, and we love it. And so it is a two-edged sword, just like David was saying, in the sense that if everybody did it, and if everybody did it their own way, it may not work like it does work right now.
You nailed it, right? And that's what gives us the certainty of conviction of the structure and the legality, is that it has been protected. And that's also why perhaps not everyone knows about it. But even so, if they know about it, they think they know, but until they sign the NDA and actually get the x-ray of the inner workings, they don't know. Right. And in fact, we've had national law firms who thought they knew, very respected, and say, oh, we got that whole thing figured out. And we say, no, you don't, though. Then they sign it, and then they look at it and like, we didn't know. And oh my gosh, you guys are brilliant. We'll send you more referrals, send you more deals. So it's protected, it's proprietary, and again, that's 25 years. So yeah, I think David Young really said that well, and Jake, you said it perfectly as well. Excellent. So that is the first part of this, the vision and kind of overview of that video. Second part is the deal close story of the week. Okay. And we actually had a couple close, and I'm trying to think of which one would be a good one to focus on. And as a reminder, we talked about the Ethereum case that officially closed. That was 2 weeks ago. Last week, if you tried to show up, sorry, we were in Dallas. We were having too much fun, and it was just couldn't get there. We were back to all meetings and trainings and such.
We have to explain that Brett's form of fun is that we work from 7 a.m. till 12:30 in the morning. So like all the way around the clock, right?
Seriously, right? It was nonstop. So much fun. We'd love for you guys, by the way, to join us in Vegas, by the way, at the next EXP event. Everyone's invited, regardless if you're EXP or not. And you can meet M&A advisors, business brokers, commercial brokers, and then learn all about the DST. So Vegas is, by the way, November 9th through the 11th, 9th or 11th, right around there, 9th through the 11th or 11th through the 13th. And we're staying at the Mirage live in person. It's going to be amazing. So check that out. So yes. All right. So the deal close story of the week. Okay. So, which one do I want to choose here? So we had, and they're starting to really blur. Actually, let's do the reverse order. I want to do the under contract deal of the week. Okay. So this is a deal that Jake and I are working on. In fact, we had a call with the gentleman this morning. We won't give names, but it was a CPA that Jake has worked with, has brought the deal. This particular gentleman is selling multiple lots, and he has a brother, and they're worth a lot. They're worth a lot of money. In fact, they have an apartment complex that's worth over $100 million, and they have other smaller projects that they're selling, and they're looking about this for the first time. And this gentleman's, got on the call at the tax attorney with us. He's liking it. Then it seems like the emotion of, oh no, too good to be true, or what am I missing, or why wouldn't I have known about it? And his brother's a little bit skeptical too. And so they're taking a little bit of a step to the side. Not, I wouldn't say back, but just kind of pausing. But Jake, we were able to communicate with them on this. So what else am I capturing their hesitancy there? Or what other hesitancies did you see, and that we can kind of flush out for everyone here?
Yeah, well, let's just talk about various other strategies. And again, the importance of getting all the advisors at the table. It is a common strategy to try and, through multiple owners and other things, make a property worth less, or to construe that it is worth less because of its difficulty in management, difficulty in sale, difficulty in whatever reason. Why would they do that? They would do that so that they can be gifting part of it over a number of years to their family and avoid some of the estate tax. Because literally, if they're doing things that make it worth less, then in gifting it away, at a lower value, it can then grow in the future, but in the names of their children or grandchildren, whoever, right? That is a strategy that is commonly utilized in estate planning. However, in the realm of, let's just say, business practice, a lot of times people want their property to be worth more. They want it to be appraised for more. They can finance more against it if it is appraised for more, and they want to sell it for more. One of the ideas and things that we help people do is look at things from all angles so that they can make the very best decision. If instead of just passing on a property to their children, Brett presented the amazing idea that, hey, what if you could actually sell it for its real value or do things to improve its value, then sell it, and then your kids with the money inside of the DST can buy another development, and that development property can be worth more, that can produce more income, and can have a new depreciation schedule. Anyway, a lot of magical things can happen when we review all the possibilities and look at everything from all the angles and ensure that it actually has the best outcome for the client.
Yeah, very well said. Yeah, and it's a good point. Sometimes we're looking at the tiger and we're grabbing them by the tail, which could be the capital gains tax. But sometimes it's the elephant. It's just sitting there like he's just big old 40% estate tax, or big old like no depreciation schedule, or big old thing that if the focus is wrong and you're stuck in the say the trees or versus the forest of this thing, it's like just take a step back and look at this, call it this big old mountain over there of estate tax, right? You're just looking at this small little piece of a forest, which is capital gains tax. Now, doesn't mean that capital gains tax isn't important. But a lot of folks and their advisors, they've been trained and coached on how to build wealth, and they've done a good job of buying real estate and adding value and managing money and maybe even deferring capital gains tax on a 1031. But what I also mentioned to this particular gentleman is the people who got you there are probably not the people to get you over here, because they would have already told you that. And what we do is we help you to get over here. And where's over here? Outside the taxable estate, be able to get a brand new depreciation schedule, be able to save that 40%. And I'm talking ultra high net worth clients. And so it's an analogy I've heard of businesses that are growing, right? The 0 to first million of revenue is a different set of leadership team and business team and systems than the $1 million to 50 million, and the 50 million to 100 million, and then the 100 million to a multi-billion-dollar company. It takes a different set of skill sets and systems and processes. And that's where the deferred sales trust comes in. And that's the disconnect between this two-edged sword. Because part of the sword is, hey, on this side of things, these people should know it. You're like, but if they would have known it, they would have already done it for you or showed this to you. On the other side is it's brand new, and I need them to say yes. In fact, I met with a gentleman yesterday. He's a doctor here in Roseville, California. And he said, well, before I even get with them, I need you to get with my CPA, and him to say yes. And I said, that's fine. We're welcome to bring those in, bring those folks in, get their blessing. But realize he's a general practitioner. He's very smart at what he's done, and he's helped you to get where you're at. But he's not going to be able to get you over here because he's never seen it or done it. He can give some insight. And I said, whatever you do, just don't let him off the hook. Meaning, make sure you bring him to the table to have the conversation, to bring up the specific objections to the thing, to the questions that they have. Now, 9 out of 10 times, if they come to the table and they sit down with us, they say yes, and they end up joining us. Okay, where people, and I encourage you not to let your clients or yourself get off the hook here, is when they emotionally say, that person thinks it's not good, it's not legal, they wouldn't do it. Therefore, I'm not going to challenge them to step into the conflict, if you will, the debate, and really get those swords going back and forth. And that's when you create that friction is where the magic happens, because that transformation of the false beliefs are overcome, because they go, oh, it does have private letter rulings, or oh, there is big national law firms that have looked at it and reviewed it and approved it. Oh, there's been billions. There's been all of this. Oh, I thought it was something else, and it's something different.
Yeah,
but
there is precedence. People do this.
Yeah, there is the evidence. It is there. And so that's the encouragement there, to always be open to inviting those people in, but set the expectation that, hey, they may or may not totally get this, and that's okay. Like, because if they already had got it or understood it, they would already have brought you to where we're at. And we're not just hoping that you try something new. It's already been proven, and it has a perfect track record. So that's what I told the doctor. In fact, the doctor brought up another good point. It was interesting. He goes, we sat down, and he goes, hey, he's in surgeries, but he's doing all this stuff all day. And I'm like, how'd your day go? He's like, yeah, sorry, I'm about 20 minutes late. I've been back to back to back. The hospitals are crazy right now with what's going on with COVID. He's like, have you got your shot? I was like, yeah, I got my shot. And he's like, yeah, it's crazy. 99% of the people that are in here haven't got, who are actually are actually dying, according to his stats, don't have their shot. And he goes, 90% of people who are actually even in here at all also haven't had their shot. And he's like, I'm really encouraging people to get the shots. And so I use that same analogy to him. I'm like, look, our track record is perfect, 100%. Perfect. That CPA doesn't know the track record, doesn't know it. And his point was people are relying on whether you fall on one side or the other with the vaccinations part. His point was like 96% of medical professionals have got the shot. And he goes, people are relying on people that haven't been trained or whatever, or the Facebook thing or even the news. They're making their decisions on that. And so I use that. So when he, later on in the conversation, he came up and he said, well, I got to get my CPA to say yes to this before, because he was all excited about it. And he was, but I got to get my CPA. I'm like, okay, that is fine. But realize, I'm going to use your same analogy. Remember what you said, right? If you're relying on somebody who's never seen it, who hasn't got the vaccination, if you will, hasn't been a part of this, and we look at this evidence of perfect track record of thousands of closes, billions, and 100% track record, guess what? Don't fall trap for that, right? Go here. And so he kind of clicked for him when I applied that. So always try to use analogies where someone's at to help them overcome their false belief. Does that make sense, Jake? Or any thoughts on that?
It really does. A lot of times we just have to open people's mind a little bit just because they haven't ever done it before or haven't ever seen it or haven't ever had a client, and they may have thousands of clients and never have had a client that have done it. That doesn't mean that thousands of deferred sales trusts don't exist out there and that the IRS hasn't tested it repeatedly over the last 25 years. And that a lot of really well-to-do individuals are benefiting greatly because they're able to reinvest the gross proceeds minus attorney fees, realtor fees, all that other stuff of whatever big transaction would otherwise incur without having to pay out those taxes, and they can reinvest the gross amount. And that's the wonderful, magical thing about it, is it does work. And there is, I wouldn't call it a secret sauce, but there is a right way to do it, and that's what's being protected so that people don't go and do it their own way, their own flavor of mixing things together, because at the end of the day, if you use salt instead of sugar and cookies, it doesn't come out the same.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. I love that. Excellent. So now let's dive into the crypto part of the show where we're talking about deals that we're working on and closing. So right now, Jake and I have one for a gentleman. We won't name names, but he's finally said, okay, I'm in. Let's open the account. And so we're going through the same process of opening it up. In fact, here's a cool part. Here's the thing to announce, an excitement thing. I got a live person from one of these exchange accounts, right? A guy from Kraken. He actually set a time on my calendar, and he came on, and I came onto the thing because I have so many meetings, and I was like, "Oh, you're from Kraken? Oh my gosh, I've been trying to get a hold of you for 90 days. Like, get a live person." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to be your account man." And basically, because we've laid out to him that we did a $5 million deal already. We're probably, we're hoping, praying that we're going to help about $100 to $200 million worth of clients move funds in over the next year or so. And I go, I need to systematize this. And he goes, yes. Okay, thank you. So we spent about 20, 30 minutes going through the process of basically trying to eliminate all of the repetitive uploads of capital gains tax solutions, of me, of who owns what. And he goes, this is what we're going to do, Brett. We're going to get a single dedicated email address that you can send all of your trust to. There's still going to be separate accounts, never commingled, all protected, separate codes. But here's the cool thing. You won't have to go through that initial process of the same stuff. And he goes, then the second part will be the trust. You upload that, simple. And then it's the note holder. So I think we've just decreased it, Jake and Pierce, by about 33%. I think at least. And every time we do this iteration, hopefully it goes a little bit more, so we can streamline it. So they're not having to figure out, if I'm with, Joe, customer service person, and then Ellie, and then Jessica, and all these different people, they're not having to rewrite the thing from zero, right? They can start at, oh yeah, this is Brett. He already did this. Okay, here's all the stock. Let's just apply it to this trust here, because capital gains tax solutions is the same thing every time, right? So I'm going to pause there. Any thoughts on that, Pierce or Jake? We'll go with Pierce first.
Yeah, I think you need to systematize it because it's a pain in the butt uploading all those documents. That's a huge step.
Yeah. I think the amazing part of that is that when dealing with a lot of these digital wallets, whether it be Coinbase, whether it be whoever, the type of service you get is inconsistent. And I think everybody out there has experienced this. Sometimes you send in an email and you get an immediate response. Sometimes it's 2-3 weeks later. Sometimes they don't respond. Sometimes you send them 10 messages and 15 phone calls, and you're still trying to get in touch with somebody. So the fact that even though we've had some minor successes with various different digital wallets with our clients, holding their hands, walking through things, the type of service has been rather inconsistent. With Kraken, we've got an easy in now. We have a dedicated email we can send information to. We've decreased the workload and the time to get things done by at least 30%. I think you're being ultra conservative. I think it's more like 300%.
That's a lot of time too. Yeah.
Because really, we can almost have a timeline for our clients from start to finish with, hey, getting the account set up, getting things transferred over, all of that. Obviously, it is relative to where the coins are at currently and making sure that all the coins and token sets and everything else actually do transfer over to Kraken. Most of them do. If not, we can address those as they come. But not saying that Kraken's the only entity we need to use. Gemini has been rather friendly and a few others as well. But this is pretty exciting that not only does Kraken recognize it, have they had their attorneys look into it and say, oh yeah, we can open up an entity like this. This makes sense. That's kind of a warm and fuzzy altogether. As has been mentioned, it's going to be systematized. It's going to be put into such a way that it'll be an easy handshake rather than a handhold through the process.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. And by the way, if you want to learn more about this, Jake, where's a great place for them to find you?
Yeah, so you can email me directly at Jake M, so Jake and then M for my last name, at Alpha Mark, spelt ALPHA, Mark, MARK.com. Jake M at alphamark.com, or the 800 number for the firm, 1-800-773-1848.
Perfect. Yeah, and then I mentioned this show. I mentioned where you found us too, and then of course we have the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast as well as the YouTube channel, and then if you find me there, then just make sure you mention this show as well. That being said, guys, we are running out of time. I'm going to open it up for a few questions. So there's Joel, there's Yanni, there's Rebecca, there's Jovi, or make sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. Are there any questions you have for Pierce, Jake, or me right now? And you can unmute yourself.
I still digest whatever you're talking about that. So, and on this point, I don't have any question yet.
Okay. Excellent. Very good. We'll keep coming back, keep learning.
Thank you.
And questions will open up. Thanks for sharing that. So we have Yanni, we have Joel or Rebecca. Any questions at this time?
I don't have any questions. It's fun to learn about the whole Kraken and just other, cryptocurrency and that kind of thing. Just not out of my, it's completely out of my comfort zone. So it's fun.
Cool. And by the way, Rebecca and we did our first podcast. Rebecca is one of our strategic alliances business partners out of the Tahoe Truckee area for luxury real estate using the Deferred Sales Trust. And so that was a lot of fun. Rebecca, what have you got any feedback from our live on Facebook and YouTube?
Nothing yet. So still working on it.
Got it.
Give me a couple of days.
Couple of days is good. We'll keep doing them, and then you'll see as it piles up. So that is cool. So Yanni, any questions or thoughts that you want to add to the conversation? And no worries if not. Yeah. So Yanni is asking a question: is it called a DST? Yeah, it's called a Deferred Sales Trust, also known as a DST, but not to be confused with the Delaware Statutory Trust. And the second question for Yanni in the chat was: is the minimum $1 million? Yeah. $1 million net proceeds and $1 million gain is the minimum. And it's important to understand because of the fees and what's involved, that's where we've set those out. If you had one asset at $500,000 and you're going to sell another one within a short period of time of $500,000, can we combine the two? Yes, we can. But a good rule of thumb is, hey, is it $1 million gain? Yes. Is it $1 million net proceeds, net of the debt and the commissions and the closing costs? Yes. Great. Then it fits. Those are the minimums. That is where it's at. So we are 3 minutes away. So I'm going to also encourage everyone to invite someone next week. I want to encourage you to bring clients on, friends, family, anyone else to learn more about this. bring your questions, and we will be with you again next week, same time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on this mastermind. I appreciate everyone here, and talk to you again real soon. Okay.
All right. Everyone have a great weekend.
Okay.
See
Bye
you
now.
guys.